Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Cipher System rules by Monty Cook Games. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. We're happy to have you with us on this journey of cosmic wonder. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living from the vast reaches of unknown space, are strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your game master. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your game master this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back with our Children of the Periphery series, has been dubbed Into the Unknown. We are utilizing the Monty Cook's Cipher system for this, so hopefully you've had a chance to check out what they offer as well, because it's been an awful lot of fun for us, and hopefully it will be for you too. At the top of the show, what we normally like to do is thank our listeners and especially our Patreon supporters. We have recently passed a pretty auspicious number of episodes, and the train is going to continue moving, and so we'll see what happens in the near future, but we want to thank you for being there for us. And now we're going to get to player introductions to my right.
This is Morgan, and I play Captain Amara Casra. Our pronouns are she, her, and Amara is a brash explorer who learns quickly. However, last episode, I might not have learned as quickly as I needed to.
Given that it's space, speed is relative. And next to Captain Casra.
Hi, this is Rena. I play Tamarisk Anvari. Our pronouns are they, them. Tamarisk is an empathic speaker who commands mental powers. And we just had a nice nap. I'm sure everything's fine. Nothing possibly went wrong while we were sleeping.
Not a thing. Not a thing. Promise. Maybe not promise. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, this is John. I'll be playing Fida. We both use he, him pronouns. And Fida is a mechanical explorer who talks to machines, which, if you want to see that in action, listen to the last episode again.
Wonderful. We are in the missing Cordelia formation for this episode, and that's okay because as the crew who left the ship to go check out the relay station have come back, Cordelia expressed a deep and unabiding desire to rest in her bunk. And so that is what she'll be doing to catch up on all that lost energy and rest that she really, really needed. Not that the time in cryo was rest at all, because sort of broken up sleep along the way. I'm sure she'll be fine hanging out in her power armor against the wall, plugged in somewhere, sort of like a Christmas ornament. So we're going to raise the curtain tonight just about an hour or so after the crew returns to the seed ship. And as such, we're going to find and look in on Tamarisk as they are, waking back up after a few hours nap. You had gone to bed with a series of sort of cluster headaches, and consciousness comes back to you in a soft way, which is nice. There's a tone through the hull, and you pick up some vibrations just at the edge of your perceptions. And as this tone continues, there's almost an echo that picks up in your room. It's not a bad feeling you get. You just don't know where the tone is coming from. It seems to warble for a minute and then recede into the back of the room and maybe in the back of your brain.
Sit up very slowly. Rakam, what is that noise?
You hear the calm voice of Rakam come through the intercom. Noise? I'm not picking up any noise, Tamarisk. What do you mean noise? What's it sound like?
Kind of warble? Oh, maybe just the after effects of whatever it was on the bridge. It's just very loud.
Maybe we should get you to medical?
No, I'm sure it's fine. It'll pass.
Okay. The bunks here on the colony ship. Actually, you're on the Periphery itself. So you're in your stateroom or your bunk there, which is a little bit more well appointed, has all your stuff in it. Also is a little bit more comfortable than what you are fairly certain are basically rack beds on the seed ship. Pack them and stack them would not be as comfortable. Well, the noise returns a few moments later, and you can't seem to place where the source comes from. Like, imagine you had dropped a stone into a pool of water that you're standing in, and so the echo seems to sort of emanate out from where you're standing or sitting. It only lasts maybe a few seconds.
Okay, this is going to get annoying. If it continues, shake my head kind of to clear it a bit, because still a bit stuffy from everything and the migraines. I've never had migraines like that before, and it was quite an experience.
You shake your head, and it feels like there's a magnetic band around the crown of your head all of a sudden. Like everything hums. And you almost feel like someone has placed a vibrating halo on top of your head. And every time your head moves back and forth, you can see, when your eyes are open, you can see that the room swims a little. And you get just the slightest bit nauseous when that happens.
Okay, Rakam, I might need to go to medical after all. Oh, icons.
What's wrong?
My head.
Okay.
Room is spinning.
Okay, I'll be right there. Probably less than 30 seconds, there is a chime, like the bell at your door, which again fractalizes in your ear a little bit. But you know that it's Rakam being respectful of your space.
Come in. Don't make any loud noises.
You see the faint purple glow of Rakam's holographic form enter the room. He doesn't really even have to wait for the doors to finish sliding open, because he can digitize himself and get thin, which is what he does. And he goes to a nearby wall unit, and he begins tapping on some of the buttons there. And from the side of the wall, a skeletal frame is pulled out. Like, it looks like a lot of right angles that are sort of latticed over one another. And he pulls it out, right, seeming to hold on to it. What you can tell is that Rakam's not actually making any physical contact with it, but that it's coming out of the wall. And he says, just give me a moment. We'll have the chair ready. And it converts out of the wall from this basic lattice work into what looks like a simple settee for you to like sit in. And there are small rollers on like 6 to 8 different points of the legs that are beneath it. So that way you could be pushed out of the room.
I was about to say, is this really necessary? But the room is spinning, so I'm just going to go with it, Rakam. Thank you.
I think it's necessary. Captain, your comlink goes off on the seed ship where you'd return to the bridge, and you hear Rakam's voice say, I'm taking Tamarisk to the medical bay, Captain. We have a medical emergency.
All right, I'll be down there in a minute.
You get wheeled into medical. Once you are there, the assistants that are available there, computer assistants, take over the latticework chair, and they convert it into a position where you can sort of slide into the medical bed without having to physically get up. And then this latticework chair compresses and sort of sits to one side in the room. Captain, by the time you get there, you see Rakam is almost like pensively staring at Tamarisk while there's a bunch of machinery working overhead.
So, what's going on?
Headaches. Pretty bad.
Room is spinning. Can you not be so loud? Oh, icons. Oh.
Can we give them something for the headache?
Certainly, we can administer something.
Tamarisk, do you want something to help with the pain?
Anything that'll help this, whatever's crushing my skull right now.
Rakam gestures to the medical equipment. I've prepared doses in the injector, but he sort of flexes his fingers. It's about as far as I can go.
Oh, yeah, of course. Sometimes I forget, Rakam. Sorry.
That I'm a computer-generated hologram? Yes.
Well, you're more human than most.
Ugh, I don't know. Well, from my perspective, Captain, you're limited by, the carbon base that you are.
I agree. I go grab one of the injectors and I'm going to administer it into Tamara's arm.
Okay. So administering the medicine is very simple. That is not hard. But Tamaris now has to make a defense roll against the medicine. Essentially, what's happening is the injectable is going to go in, and you're going to see how well it works on your body. And so to defend yourself against what's going on, you need to make a challenge rating 5 defense roll. So you get 1 asset in this, and that is the medical treatment. Now, if the captain is trained in a skill like first aid, she could lower it again.
I am. I'm trained in healing.
Okay, so that's a 3. That's as best as can be done.
Okay, here we go. 11?
Okay, so 9 or better.
Okay.
It doesn't take more than, say, a minute before that magnetic halo sort of lifts in your mind. And so we dial the sort of stabbing pain that comes with that type of headache from like a 7 or maybe 8 to like a 3. It still puts you at hindered for any potential like challenges when it comes to specifically mental abilities or enigmas, solving puzzles, because literally you have a bad headache. But the pressure is off now and the room has stopped spinning, and that nausea feeling begins to sort of well away a little bit.
That's better. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Rakam.
He salutes you. What do you think caused it?
Only thing I can think of is whatever that noise, sound, whatever was when we attempted the communication earlier before I almost passed out.
I wonder if there's something with the ship itself that maybe we communicate in a different way on using those seed ship functions, or maybe there's kind of size. I gotta believe there's different machinery on this ship than here on the Periphery, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe FIDA could figure out if there's something that maybe used an old type of technology.
Maybe something's vibrating the wrong way.
It's always possible. The screen in engineering, FIDA, flickers to life, and you see a sort of pale purple glowed face appear on the screen. It almost feels like I would just use the parallel of like sort of old 50s tube technology where you see like the bent image come out a little bit, or maybe it's like more max headroom, but it's for common space for sure. And he says, hey, Tamaris is here in the med bay and we're trying to get something figured out. They're not doing real well. Quick to recover, but we've got some questions maybe you might be able to help with.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my medical training's really basic, but
Oh, no, it's about the seed ship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a bit better with that. What do you need to know?
Tamaris said they heard a strange tone, or like some sort of resonant sound that came from somewhere here within the Periphery. But I checked our sensors internally and there's nothing that gave off that sort of energy. And so I'm wondering, because we're sitting in the belly of this big acorn pod, if there's something that we're not factoring in.
Some kind of resident freak, but like they didn't have this issue before we went out, right?
Not that I know of.
The elephant in the room would be whatever caused them to go kind of fall down on the bridge.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not here to poke fun or be accusatory towards certain people who may or may not be here right now, but Cordelia is great for being a Legionnaire and all, but she probably doesn't know half the stuff that this ship can do.
Oh, yeah. I think she probably might be slow to admit it, but she'd admit it eventually, probably. Okay, I'll come up and I'll have a quick look around. There might be a loose panel somewhere, maybe vibrating at a frequency that, can aggravate an underlying condition. And he's kind of like stopping and thinking. He's just like, This sounds... I mean, I haven't noticed anything like that at all on the ship, and I slept here last night. In that case, it might be localized to the medic bay.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be localized to the medic bay. I haven't really spent any time there. I'll come up. I'll bring I've got a frequency detector. I'll see if I can bring that along. Maybe it's something to do with the lighting, maybe as well. Could be a weird bulb. Some of these old ships, you never know what's what. Fight is also thinking of, what if you have sentient lightning in the conduits there, and it's vibrating at some kind of frequency that slowly drives people crazy? Because, now that's a concern for every single problem on the ship. All right, I'll come up and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Back in the medical bay, you see Rakam turn around, like in the position he's in. And it's a little strange because he turns his head and neck and then like the body sort of follows suit. It's pretty quick, but you can tell that it's just a little off. And he says, okay, Tamara's, Fida says you might have the brain crazies.
Oh, he did he?
He shrugs, I guess.
I have to have some words with Fida at some point when my head is pounding so much.
You don't have the brain crazies.
If anyone does, he does.
No, nobody has the brain crazies on the ship.
Well, I do.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, you tried being put in a box for a few hundred years.
Are you a few hundred years old?
It's really above your clearance level for me to talk about.
If you tell me if it's by my pay grade, I'm going to have to turn you off.
You're not being paid anymore, Captain. In fact, you don't even have a job.
I am still captain of this ship, by golly, Rakam.
That's true. I'm not here to argue with you. He puts his hands up.
I do smile at him. I am joking.
You arrive, Fida.
Yeah, I kind of walk in. I rushed up. He walks in there. He's like, technically, we're all unemployed and don't pay rent. I mean, if you want to be really technical, I think we're squatting in this ship. I don't know if cryo counts towards that period of time.
Scavenger's rights.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I don't hear anything. Sorry, I don't hear any. Kind of talks softer after Tamarisk makes a face.
If you tell me it's all in my head, Fida, we are going to have problems.
No. Not what I'm saying. I never said that, I think. I think it might be something affecting you. And I don't know if maybe when you got that, like, whatever that thing that happened to you on the bridge was, I don't know if that gave you maybe some kind of concussion and maybe your inner ear is disorientated, something like that. I don't know enough about medicine to tell you. But I can have a look at the panels here. Would you say the vibration is coming from anywhere in particular, or is it all around you?
It's all around. I can't figure out where exactly it's coming from. I kind of rub my temples. It's just loud.
And Fida kind of thinks of when he was on the bridge, and it was just when he came out of cryo, and it was just noise, and he's just bleary-eyed trying to figure out what the hell was going on. He's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's maybe a little similar to that, but this is more, for you, Tamarisk, this is more targeted. It doesn't feel like the reconnection of like your senses. This feels like every now and again, someone takes a tiny, maybe less than hand-sized bell and hits it with a dulcimer hammer, just loud enough to create a tone. That's what it's like.
Well, it's repetitive, but it's not all the time. Fida, I don't know if that helps with anything at all.
That actually makes it harder to track down. I think I'll find it. All right, so give me a sec. I'm going to run some tests on some of the wiring in here. I'll just do some continuity testing. He's kind of like, is there somewhere else we can put you so that you won't have to deal with this while I'm going to be making noise. It can't be helped.
I heard the noise in my quarters too. Maybe it's following me.
And he's just like, sentient lightning in a conduit? What if... And he's like, give me a second. And he putters off. Comes back 5 minutes later. He's got the communicator again. And he's just like, right, well, is this making the noise? And he holds it up in front of them.
Maybe what we should do is have Tamarisk. I'll say that if you want to attempt to sense something from this or determine whether or not the sound or the tones are coming from it, it's a challenge rating 3 difficulty, which is a 9 or better on your D20.
15.
Okay. So 2 things are evident to you. 1, it is not coming from this box. 2, there is something in that box which you still feel some sort of presence in. This disturbs you.
Mm-hmm. No, Fida, that was a good thought, but it's not coming from there. There is still something in there.
Oh yeah, sentient ball of lightning.
It's not dissipating, if you were hoping it would. Just so you're aware.
I had a feeling that it wouldn't. It's a sentient ball of lightning. I think all the rules of physics are kind of suspended while this thing is in play. And he just puts it down on a counter, and he's just like, well, let's forget about that for now.
We've imprisoned it. It's going to go very well when it gets out of there eventually. Anyway, it's not making the noise.
You supercom twitch. Like actively, as if, when you hear a sharp noise out of reach of your peripheral vision and you turn reflexively towards it to discern what it is, you watch Rakam do that.
Rakam, are you okay?
We have a bogey. I'm picking something up on the sensors, the internal sensors that I'm still connected to from the seed ship. There's someone moving in here.
In here where?
They're headed toward the bridge.
Yeah, I pull my pistol and start running to the bridge.
I join the captain as a big, meaty man who can possibly hold someone down and stand behind her while she shoots them. We don't know. We didn't get it. As we're going, Fida's just talking. He's just like, but we didn't get any notifications of somebody waking up. I mean, surely we would have gotten that.
I'm ignoring him. I'm letting him talk because he's scared.
Wow.
I follow, but a little bit more slowly because I'm not in any condition to be running right now.
Sure. So we'll just say that the captain and Fida are a few range bands beyond you, meaning they're at long range, they have outdistanced you, you know where they're going, but because of a variety of reasons, you're not physically keeping up with them. Captain, you get to the lift, which takes you back up to the bridge, and when you get to the bridge, you don't see anyone. Rakam appears here, like on the view screen. I swear he sort of looks around.
Rakam, do a scan for life signs on the ship, please.
Sure. I'm picking up the 3 of us here, plus Cordelia in her pod. And then I've gone ahead and filtered out all of the cryo life signs because they're not what we're looking for. I'm getting a trace amount of something in the one of the storage areas. He highlights it on screen. You see a wireframe of the seed ship, and then you watch where the bridge is, and it lights up, and then you see down several of the lift shafts, and then out towards the edge of one of the material handling and storage spaces, there's a small blip.
Is there any cameras or anything in that?
No.
Is there multiple entry points to that storage area?
Yeah, there are multiple entry points.
How many? Is 2, 3?
2.
Fida, you go this way, and I'm going to go this way. Hopefully we can trap it coming out.
Gotcha.
Find a weapon.
Picks up a loose, old fire extinguisher that's probably been centuries out of service, and he's like, gotcha.
So you come down in a lift long enough, basically at the time where Tamarisk, you're waiting on the lift to go to the bridge, and they appear in front of you, and Fida has a fire extinguisher.
Is something on fire?
No, but I don't like guns, and we got 6 signatures down in the storage bay, so we're gonna check it out. And he shuffles past and takes off down the hall.
Okay. So we're going that way now. Okay.
You guys head towards the storage bay. All 3 of you. After some time, I'm going to assume a few things, right? 1, if you're coming at the storage area from a couple different entry points, I'm going to assume, unless you tell me otherwise, that the crew is not moving at breakneck speed, right? You're not rushing. If you are, that's fine. Just let me know.
I would say Fight is going at like a gentle jog.
Makes total sense.
Fight notes that his entry point is slightly further than the captain's, but he's not going to worry about that.
It is. Tamara's, you're still lagging behind just a little bit, just because of the energy output. And as they approach this storage space, again, you're back a little ways. You have to grab the side of the bulkhead in the hallway as you get a momentous amount of mental friction. I think that's the best way I can put it. It feels like your brain is rubbing on the side of your skull, like almost actively. It isn't necessarily unpleasant.
Something in there is making my head feel funny. Be careful.
I think that's the challenging part for Tamarisk, is expecting a pain response from your body and not getting one.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's just like, what is this? What does any of this mean? So the two of you, Fida and Captain Amara, enter the storage area. So we'll say that it is a rectangular room. Fida, you're approaching it from sort of the northwest corner entry point. And Captain, you're approaching it from the southernmost entry point. The southernmost entry point is the main doors to the space. The northwest entry point to this room is sort of like a secondary or tertiary hallway. It's more of a T hallway that leads to another storage space. And I'm going to ask you all who are investigating this space to make me a roll. It's perception based.
I got a 15.
Okay.
I got a 2.
Okay. Makes sense. You're busy.
You got a 13?
Okay. So on the northeasternmost point of this room, you see something rather shocking. And you see it because it glows. There is a section of the wall, irregularly circular, which has slightly digitized. And the ring, that irregular ring and circle, is sort of coated like imagine a bucket of paint has been spread on that wall, almost sort of slopped onto it. And the hole, which is there in the center of this irregular circle, is the bulkhead, the wall, which makes waves, much like the ocean would, or perhaps a large bath. And then in front of your eyes, it slows down. The blue sort of photoluminescent color of that ring fades, and the bulkhead goes solid.
Well, that was strange.
Fight just kind of looks at the captain and he's like, Cap, I gotta be honest with you. When I was young, I did a lot of very powerful hallucinogenics, and I've been told some of them can affect you later on. So what I just saw was a kind of a ripple in that wall, and that doesn't. He's like, but I'm still seeing like some of the after effects. So just kind of looks at her and he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, I didn't see anything. And I walked over to the wall to...
He's like, yep, another flashback. I should have known.
I laughed to myself as I'm walking to the wall.
Being gaslit by my commanding officer. Who would have seen this coming?
And I turn around and I look at Fida. Fida, I also did a lot of hallucinogenics when I lived on the asteroid belt. You're not dreaming. Come on. Let's take a look at this.
Comes over and has a look and he's like, oh, it's actually... Oh. So I'm like, is the paint color still there, or is it...
Paint color fades. Digitization fades, right? So it all goes nice and firm, like you would want a bulkhead wall.
Like I would prefer them to be, yes.
We would prefer them nice and sturdy because, well...
they're bulkheads.
This is something, Tamarisk, that you missed, obviously, because you're just not in the room yet. And as it by the time you get there and catch up, as Fida and the captain are slowly inspecting it, you won't make out what's there. But for you, Fida, when you get close enough to see it, in the sense that you see that it's definitely not paint. Even though it looks like paint, it's not. And while there are irregularities to it, the irregularities at the northern and southern portion of this circle are somewhat similar. So in your brain, you feel like maybe a machine made this?
Yeah, he's kind of like, maybe some kind of like if these were the contact points, you might get more current or something at the top and bottom, at these 2 points here. And he kind of like takes the back of his hand and puts it up against the wall as the color is fading. He's just like checking if it's like hot or cold or no room temperature.
It's a little cold.
But not as cold as that panel that had been touched by the void.
No. Nope.
Kind of turns to Tamarisk and the captain. He's like, yeah, no, it's cold. I don't know what. He kind of like rubs his face and he's just like, I don't know what the hell. Like I can't explain that. That's physics works different here, I guess.
And for you, Tamarisk, you don't see what he's pointing at. Like, it looks like a bulkhead wall.
Cold. It's very cold in space. What are we talking about? It just looks like a wall to me.
You've had this headache going on. You just might not be at 100%. It's totally fine. We've all been there. You just take it easy. But there was totally something alien in origin.
And Fight is just like, the walls rippled. Well, this wall rippled. Just this one. Just this panel right here.
So, more space shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. I genuinely am stumped. I don't know what could have done it. I don't know how it could have done it. I don't know. I mean, maybe some kind of weird alien technology beyond our comprehension, but he kind of scratches the back of his head and he's like, I genuinely have no idea what the hell we just saw.
Well, whatever it was, it made my brain feel strange. And I don't like things that do that.
Strange how?
Yeah, like strange in a good way, ha. Strange in a ow.
It should have been an ow, but it wasn't. And it was very confusing. It felt like it should hurt, but it didn't.
The far door to this space, the one the captain had come through, opens just for a moment. And I would like you all to make me a challenge rating 5 defense roll, as what appears to be the barrel of a rifle is pointed through through that space where you see the silhouette of a figure from all the backlighting, and an energy weapon is fired into the room.
That's a no.
Yeah, that's a no for me as well.
Is there anything we can do to lower our defense?
That's a great question. You mean lower the challenge rating of the roll?
Yes.
Yeah, so is there anything you can do? Yes, you can always spend effort. So effort is something that you can utilize in the game system here. We can go over the effort rules if you would like. So if we're going to use effort to make something easier, you can spend it to ease a task. The player spends points from that stat pool that is most appropriate for the task. So this would be a speed pool that you would spend from, because you're trying to dodge and get out of the way. Or you can be, quote, smarter. Like, I think it's a speed pool, but I am, of course, open and willing to hear arguments for, I think I know where he's shooting, and so I'm going to move in the smartest direction. I think that's flexibility for the player. Every character has a maximum level of effort that they can apply to a single task. So when you spend effort sort of to activate those points, you have the ability to apply one level of effort. It costs an additional 2 points every point thereafter. So say I want to ease it by 1, I can do that by spending at least 2 points from an appropriate pool to ease that difficulty down by 1. Now, you're only tier 1 characters. So because you're only tier 1 characters, you can only have so many points of effort.
So if we're at a level 5, we're at 15 or higher right now.
15 or better, yep.
So I will spend my effort, and you can't spend XP towards lowering it, correct? You can only spend XP towards rerolls and other like abilities and stuff like that.
You could, if you had XP and somebody else failed their roll, you could give them an XP to allow them to reroll. So that is something that is allowable. Keep in mind, though, you need XP to gain tiers, and so you're basically you're spending your own currency to level on survival, which totally may be a thing. If you had an appreciable asset, right? So if you had some type of shield or you had some type of ability, I would even allow for like, and I'm just using this as an example. I have rocket boots. They're an asset. I'm going to use them to dodge. Totally would make sense. Or if you're skilled. So if you were skilled at dodging or you were skilled at, I don't know, gymnastics, something that would show your flexibility off, that is something you could totally do. But the challenge is 5. It's your opportunity to figure out how to get around it.
Yep, so I'll spend my effort and I'll lower the task to 4. So that'll put me at
12 or better.
12 or better. And I am trained in bold, but that's only for all actions that are involve overcoming or ignoring the effects of fear or intimidation.
Right. So this isn't a fear or intimidation, but that's good to remember that, like in those cases, socially, you're not easily bullied. We don't like bullies anyway.
We do not like bullies. Ooh, I got a 14.
Okay. So you are going to get a chance to leap out of the way. Now, just so that we've gone through that now, would any of my other players like to go through that process to lower the target number, to spend points from their pool and that sort of thing?
No, I have very little in speed to start with, and I can take a bit of damage.
And then, Tamaris, do you have any...
Do you get to re-roll if you spend effort, or is it just on the roll that you have? Because I don't think anything can really help my 3.
Yeah, no, probably not. You could spend XP to reroll. That's the only way to reroll.
All right. No, I think I'll just take it.
Okay.
I'm having a bad day. Might as well continue.
Bad days, they do happen. Okay. So there is a significant sort of blat noise that happens at the front end of the room, and you see a large white bluish ball of energy come out of this rifle. You, Captain Kazra, duck behind the only thing that you can find that is appreciably large enough, and that is what looks like a load lifter that, for whatever reason, is sitting out. It gives you enough cover, and you're not affected by this energy ball that comes out. For my characters who are, you fall under a specific type of effect, because we all like effects. So you take 2 points of electrical damage in this, and you are considered stunned for 2 rounds. So essentially what happens is this ball of energy comes at you all, and as it does, it separates into a wide, almost net-like appearance, and it falls on you physically. And you feel energy discharge when it does. And you feel your bones and arms and muscles and legs and all that sort of seize up. And for the next couple of rounds, you're essentially flopping like fish out of water on the deck. So yeah, that 2 points of damage will go against your might pool. 2 damage isn't a lot, and that's okay. At least a lot for some. It's the 2 rounds of stun that's likely the unfortunate portion of this.
As I flop around, I guess I drop my fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm going to guess that Captain Amara Kazar would like to retort at some point.
For sure, I already had my weapon drawn, so...
You did, but that action happens essentially on surprise. And so what you and I will do is we will roll a d20, and we will determine which one of us, it's a speed roll, determine which one of us goes first.
You get a 14?
Okay. Actually, I suppose I don't have to roll because I operate on their challenge rating. That's helpful. So it goes on a 15, and it pulls the rifle back in the doors and steps away, like at a hustle. You actually hear boots running away from the storage area.
Yeah, I call it to Rakam. Rakam, follow that person.
Was that an energy discharge?
Yeah. Tamarisk and Fida are down for the count. They should be okay. We need to get whoever that is.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to track him.
I'll pursue.
You pursue. As you're heading out through the doors, you sort of hear and feel the whoosh of the automatic doors as you step out. And as you step out, I am going to intrude on your path. And in doing so, I'm going to offer you 2 XP. One is for you and one is for a compatriot of yours.
And we're going to give the other XP to Tamarisk because poor Tamarisk has suffered a lot already this episode and really might need it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to make me we'll say a challenge rating 3 roll. This is technically a speed-based roll. You are defending yourself against something.
I'm going to spend an XP to re-roll that.
Okay.
Because I got a 3. So.
The XP you just got?
It's free XP.
Sure.
I'm going to just take it. I got a 2.
Okay. You step out through the doors hustling after whoever this was. And as you get from this portion of the hallway to the sort of long portion that heads back to where the big canteen is, where you ate, and sort of the centralized portion of the seed ship, you hear a very fast series of beeps, almost like an alert. And when you hear the beeps, you then see a spray of light. It sort of illuminates where you're at, and you feel multiple tendrils grab at your ankles and knees, and you feel yourself effectively get lassoed, and you fall like a tree in the forest after being cut down, and you are held there.
Of course, I'm struggling.
You are. You struggle under the ropes. It'll actually end up taking you either a series of rounds to remove them or basically a might-based test to try to break through from the ropes. We'll step out of rounds momentarily to allow both Fida and Tamarisk to recover from their stun.
Oh, joy. It hurts.
Today is not my day. I should not have gotten out of bed. That's what the universe is telling me right now. We should go find the captain.
Kind of gets to his feet. He's like, yeah, where the hell did she go? All I've known for the last minute is pain. So he's just like, I came in from there. And he kind of looks down, looks around, doesn't see her instantly, and is just like, all right, I guess keep your head on a swivel and let's see what we can do.
Okay, you head back out, being careful for sure. But as you enter the first long portion of this hallway, you see the captain struggling in a series of ropes that have been attached to her. You're not sure where they came from. There's a little disc on the floor that they sort of all pinpoint back to, and you can see that it's hard, fast, attached to the floor.
Well, Captain, normally you have to pay for this.
Yeah, well, apparently I'm getting it for free today. Can you guys help me out here, please? I'm trying to struggle a little bit. And I look like a flailing fish.
You do.
Yeah, Fida tries to take some slack take some of the tension out of the ropes by just pulling back towards the grabbing either side of where, say, it goes around her arm and pulling it back towards her arm, try and give some slack so she can get parts of her out of the goddamn rope. He's just like, what the fuck is this thing? How does this even work?
It does almost seem it confuses you a little bit on a technical level, because it doesn't feel like the other end of the rope really has any sort of direct connection to anything. It's adhered itself to her. And so it looks like what it does is when it springs out of this trap, it connects to that portion of the body, and then it uses, you can hear what it's doing. You can hear it in your head. It's using all of the kinetic energy the potential energy she's generating by moving around to tighten up. It's actively pulling at that, using that pull to make things worse. And there's a wheel in the bottom of this little disc that is drawing the rest of the ropes to it.
Yeah, Fight is like, look, I'm not entirely sure how this works, but you need to stop struggling. You're making it worse. Wait here. Like, is there some way I can kind of fiddle with this to... Is there an off switch?
You can talk to machines, yeah?
Yep.
So go ahead and make me a challenge rating 3 roll to see if you can talk to this piece of technology. Use whatever abilities you have to talk to technology as well.
Yeah, he's just like, come on, what are you doing? Stop. And he's like, his hands are going all over it, feeling for switches and buttons, and he's just like, come on, stop. Oh, that is a 9.
It's good enough. You very directly tell this thing to stop engaging its sort of circuitry, and it goes slack. And once it goes slack, you feel just the lightest amount of pressure release, Captain, and that allows you to begin pulling these ropes off.
I laid still after Fida told me to, because I am somebody who learns quickly.
Indeed, you are.
So I do wiggle my way out of the ropes.
You hear a soft footfall near that corner. It's probably no more than 2 or 3 meters away. And there's that silhouette returns, like just around the corner. And you can see that the barrel of the rifle is seemingly still cooling. And it says out into the hallway in a string of words that you don't readily understand. They're words because they're conjugated and they're separated by breaths. But it's fairly clear that this being, whoever they are, is prepared to continue their aggression if necessary.
I'm gonna slowly just turn towards them, just hands in a neutral position.
You hear the gun adjust a little bit. Like you can see there's almost a gloved limb. You're not sure if it's a hand or not, because you can't really get a great look at it. Remember, the ship overall, while it has its power core running again and the engines are running, because it's on what is essentially preservation mode until it finds a planet, it's not giving you a lot of like additional illumination in some of the outer hallways because they're not core critical at this point, right? So you get basically not emergency lighting, but in effect, like 20% of the normal illumination you would get. But it does seem to readjust its aim, which is not a pleasant thing to be staring down.
Nope, not a bit. And I'll just start talking in a soothing, neutral voice, as at least what I consider neutrality, because who knows what tone of voice they would consider neutral, because this is a whole new alien context. We don't mean you any harm. Who are you? Why are you here? I'm trying to get them talking in whatever language there is so that they don't shoot. Like if they hear me speaking to them, maybe they'll speak back and we can just ease some of the tension a little bit so they're not shooting at us. That would be great. I don't want to get shot again.
Fida, something comes into your brain. You're meeting another goddamn alien.
I hope this one doesn't have 4 arms so it can hold 2 guns. One of my thoughts is, oh no, a weird alien bounty hunter like in the Hollows.
We wouldn't do that. So I love this as an opportunity for Tamarisk to potentially show off their negotiation powers. Powers by meaning a long, history of skills at adjudicating difficult agreements and negotiating with people who maybe are not friendly all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at the very least, to get them to a negotiating point, it's difficulty 5 to start.
Okay.
You have some embedded issues. One is a communication barrier.
Mm-hmm.
The next is, all of the different infamiliarities when it comes to like physiology and the pantomimes of different races. So I would love for you to wax poetically about how you'll overcome it.
So I'm trained in all tasks involving social interaction, pleasant or otherwise. And I'm trained in tasks of discerning disposition, getting a hunch about the people around me, sensing emotions, etc. So I've got potentially 2 skills that I can use there.
Yeah, being trained. So I would say being trained in any social interaction, whether it's, positive or potentially negative, is a big one. So I will happily drop that from 5 to 4. This is also something that you could choose to expend effort on, and then spend 2 points out of your intellect pool and ease the target number down to 3.
I'm going to do that because this feels very important in the interest of not getting shot again.
Okay. So that means it's a 9 or better on a d20. And you do have XP from the captain should it need to happen.
Hopefully it's better than my last 2 rolls. 9 on the dot.
Fabulous. Okay, so I would love you, the player, to take the narrative on a successful roll and tell me how you are going to approach the situation, and I'll give you whatever informational feedback you need.
So I'm standing between this person, alien, whatever they are, and the other 2. So just trying to draw all the focus on me. Focus one-on-one, because it proves less overwhelming when you're focused on one person versus you have to split your attention between 3. So getting all their attention on me. I've got my hands where they can be seen, so it's non-threatening. And I am trying to get them talking back at me. So I'm keeping up a we mean you no harm. We're visitors. Who are you? Can you communicate with me? Pause to let them try to respond with something, and just keep that stream of communication going so that they're focused on me and not on shooting anybody.
Okay. So the rifle does lower a little bit. They do seem to take some interest in the tone of your voice. You don't think they understand what you're saying, but they do seem to be almost fascinated with the tone of your voice. They have, so I'll give a little bit of a physical description of them so you understand kind of what they look like. I would say they're about 1.7, 1.75 meters tall. And they wear a long, dark coat. I would say it's a thinner material, probably more akin to some type of leather or something like that. Under it, they seem to have some type of elegant yet sturdy metallic mantle that they wear that comes to a specific point. There is a small rise in the upper portion of their chest. It's not easy to determine sort of their general gender at this point. They have a helmet on. That helmet is a little taller and a little wider than you would imagine a human head. They have a visor that comes down basically to the bridge of their nose. So it covers their eyes. And that color is the color of the visor. And the helmet itself is, we'll just say like almost like a blue-gray material. And then the visor is dark. They have very purposeful movements. They move pretty fluidly, which, you've seen different angles on at this point now. They stay half behind half cover. So they haven't come out fully into the hallway yet. But after your "we mean you no harm, we come in peace" style speech, you feel another wave of a resonance tone in your brain. And now it's at a different portion. It's over here now it's over on the left side rather than on the right. And when you're speaking to them, they have sort of taken their right hand, and in that glove, they seem to be taking a few of their digits and moving them back and forth, just very calmly. It's almost a meditative type of technique you've seen and used before back on Coriolis Station. And when they do that, it syncs up with the feeling that you're getting inside your head. And it's a little unnerving, wondrous. There's a few adjectives I could use, but you actively see them sort of rub the digits on that fingers, those thumb and forefinger per se, back and forth, and you can feel your brain react to it.
So I'll keep up because I can't let myself get distracted. So, oh, was that you? Can you explain what you're doing? Just keeping that up. Do they respond to me at all in that language?
They do sort of burble out something.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like they're talking underwater. You've heard sound through water before, and that's the sound that you're getting. Are Fida and Captain Amara doing anything?
Trying not to make any sudden movements.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like trying to get a read on what's happening and not make the situation worse. So I'm just standing in a kind of neutral position, not making any sudden moves.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep up the flow, allowing them to babble back to me, respond to me, keep talking. Now, Game Master.
Yes.
I have a thing.
Oh, I bet you do.
I do. And Tamrisk doesn't even know they have this ability yet. But after hearing a language spoken for a couple minutes, I can understand it, speak in it, and make myself understood in it.
Okay. So it's a speaker ability, right?
Yes.
So is there any point expenditure or pool expenditure for it, or it just happens?
Nope, it just happens.
Fabulous. Okay. So after a few minutes of back and forth, you think you get hold of a few of the basic questions this entity is asking. And they all seem, frankly, rather reasonable. They'd like to know who you are, where you came from, and what you're doing here. And they seem to be sort of repeating that. And they even, at least you think, offer to say that they really don't want to hurt you.
So I speak back, and I don't think I'm even realizing that I'm doing it, but I'm speaking back in the same language, which might shock the other two. It's slow and kind of halting, and I don't think I realize that I'm doing it, because I think I've just picked out some phrases that are starting to sound familiar, but I'm really starting to understand the language. But in the same language, I respond that we are from somewhere else. We came from a place far away. We don't want to hurt you or anyone. We're lost. We're new. We just found this place. Who are you?
You see it adjust its posture, and all three of you see it sort of put the rifle at rest. It's on a sling across its body, and so there is a little bit of air, additional air in your lungs when you're not staring down the barrel of this thing. It says to you, Tamrisk, "My name is Oni. I'm from the surface. Which one of you destroyed the relay station?" And that is where we're going to call our episode to a close. And so thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Children of the Periphery, Into the Unknown. We have met our first newcomer, and I can't wait to meet so many more and have you meet them too. So if you're a fan of the show, please share it with people who love space adventure and the wildness, which is the unknown. And we hope to see you again very soon. Thanks, and have a great night.